coming up in this episode.
It changed my life. I went from being nobody to being in people's living rooms for nearly 3 months. 16-hour days, you're then put into that boardroom situation. Yeah, it was stressful. Everything that could possibly be a trigger for a skin explosion happened. There was one show where I thought, I can't carry on. I thought I had psoriasis.
You found out that it was something else.
Only 5 years ago. I can't even say this word, but this is the condition. Menopause came, and I'm really happy to share this. My skin erupted. I've never seen anything like it. When you're not connected to your confidence, nobody can talk you around. And I really would urge anybody listening to this, please don't let your skin stop you from getting on with life.
Hello and welcome to Skin Unfiltered. I'm your host, presenter and British Skin Foundation Ambassador Lex Gillis. Today I'm talking to Saira Khan. She mastered both broadcast and business following her stint on the first ever series of The Apprentice UK. After clinching the runner-up spot thanks to her boisterous energy, she went on to launch successful businesses, write books and star on TV hits like Loose Women, Celebrity Big Brother and Dancing on Ice. Loads to talk about. So let's introduce this week's dermatologist, Dr Emma Wedgeworth.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here. I know you're super busy. What have you had to put on hold to keep me company today?
So I've just dashed from clinic in my lunch break to come and chat with you, but it's a complete pleasure, Lex. I always love chatting.
Oh. So you have your own clinic and you've been in dermatology for 18 years. People might recognise you from social media, from Good Morning Britain. What is it that made you so interested in skin?
So in the UK, all dermatologists have to do their general medical training, and you start off with a lot of the sort of life and death stuff, A&E, and then you rotate through all these different specialties. And when I went through dermatology, it really struck me that whilst not a lot of skin conditions are life-threatening, so many of them are life-altering. They have such a huge influence on people's quality of life. And to be able to help people with that, to treat people, it's absolutely brilliant. It's so rewarding. And so that's really why I went into it.
So it wasn't something that you kind of had your eye on from the beginning. It was just when you started, you thought, yeah, this is for me.
Well, it's funny you should say that because a lot of my friends from school will say, Emma, don't you remember that you were always going to start that skincare range called Emma So Fair because I'm super, super pale. And I was like, no, I don't remember that. I thought I wanted to be like a kidney specialist or a gynecologist or something like that. But apparently I actually always had the thought of wanting to be a dermatologist.
There you go. It was always there. And you've worked with the British Skin Foundation for a number of years. Why did you want to get involved with them?
I think it's a brilliant charity. It's such a great interface between people that struggle with skin disease or the general public, and also dermatologists and skin scientists. It does a lot with all of these sort of different aspects and really just helps involve everyone. And skin disease is just so relevant to so many people that it just helps it make it accessible for the people that actually really need that sort of information.
Yeah, it's so good to have like a central place that people can go to get trustworthy information.
It's such a good resource.
So let's talk about today's guest, Saira Khan. Have you met her before?
So exciting. No, I've never met her, but I've seen her on The Apprentice and Loose Women, so I can't wait to chat.
Me too. Yeah, I haven't met her either, but the Apprentice flower selling task has like stuck in my mind for so long.
Amazing. Amazing.
Saira's life has often played out on the telly and in the media, and she's had to deal with skin issues for a lot of that. She's actually just been diagnosed with quite a rare skin condition. I am not even going to attempt to pronounce it, but can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes. So this is called erythrokeratoderma variabilis, and it's a pretty rare skin condition, but it sits under the umbrella of something that we know as genodermatoses. Now, these are skin conditions which are caused by an abnormality in one particular gene, and that changes the way that the structure of the skin actually develops. And with this erythrokeratoderma, what you get are these red scaly patches, and they can sometimes happen on the arms and legs, but they sort of move about and they can be quite itchy and uncomfortable. And it really doesn't surprise me that this was misdiagnosed as something like psoriasis, because actually psoriasis is about 1% of the population, whereas these genodermatoses are much, much more rare.
Well, I can't wait to meet her. Should we get her in?
I'm excited. Let's go.
Welcome, Saira. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I am so excited about this chat today. I'm so passionate about skin, so I'm looking forward to it.
Amazing. Okay, we're going to jump straight in and break the ice with some skin deep questions. What's the silliest thing you've ever done to your skin?
I think actually there's a long list, but quite recently, my daughter was showing me, she's 14, and she's like, Mum, did you know that, if you put banana skin on your face, it's like the same as having Botox? And, I'm 55, I should know better, but I did find myself trying it for a week. It didn't really make any much difference at all, apart from I was attracting flies to my face.
And you
So,
smell like bananas.
Yeah, smell like bananas, yeah.
Can you tell me about a time that you felt unhappy in your skin?
I think most of my life before 50. Yeah, I definitely think it was my university years. When you're like 18 to 21, you're at university. It's the time to be confident. It's the time where you're trying to attract the opposite sex. You're very aware of yourself. And, when you have a skin disorder, that just knocks everything out of you. And I just remember those years. And it did stop me from doing stuff. It stopped me from having a good time. And I know skin isn't life-threatening, for most people, but it can really go deep emotionally and it can affect life opportunities. I wish I had that period of time where I wasn't thinking about my skin and I was just doing life and living life as a young person.
Do you think you've learnt to love the skin you're in?
Yes, I have. It's been a journey, and I would like to now confidently say with my full heart that I do feel the most comfortable in my skin. I'm 55 years old, and I don't know. Something happens to women when they're 50. You can go one way or the other. You can have regrets, or you can go, you know what, this is me. So yeah, I've just embracing every mark, every sagging bit of skin, and I'm not holding back. So yeah, I think this is the time, this is the moment, and just go for it.
I love that. So I can't not mention The Apprentice. So in 2005,
A long time ago. That's a long time ago, isn't it? 2005. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Do you?
Yeah. Worryingly.
What are the things that stick out in your memory from The Apprentice?
I first of all cannot believe that I even got onto the show. I don't come from a family of anybody who's been on the telly. And it was one of these things never happened to me. And it's like, oh my God, it actually has happened to me. But life-changing. And I love people. As you can see, I love to have a chat, never shut up. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. It changed my life. I went from being nobody to being in people's living rooms for nearly 3 months. I think that the first was it 3, or a month or whatever.
Yeah.
People got to know me, and then having 20 years in the media after that. That wasn't part of my plan when I was at university. That I wasn't really kind of sort of manifesting that, but amazing that it happened. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Do you still watch clips of it, or have you shown your children clips?
I don't even think my children have watched an episode, and it just reminds me, I'm going to sit down and watch it with them. The only thing is, I did have very red curly hair. I had a bit of a disaster before going in, so I'm like, they're going to just think, Mum, what were you thinking?
Well, do you think you would go back and do an all-stars version if you were asked?
Oh my goodness, that's a really good question. I would, because I'm just one of these really annoying people that loves a competition. Mention the word, "Are you up for it?" competition. I'm like, yep, I'll be there. I'll be there first, right? So yeah, I would love to. It'd just be good fun. It'd just be good fun. And also because I've done it, I'd know what to expect. So I've got a bit of a head start.
I felt stressed. I feel stressed watching those kind of programs. Was it a stressful experience being on there, and how did that impact your skin?
So I was in that house behind the scenes. What you don't see is for 3 months away from every member of the family. You didn't go home in those 3 months. You were in the house for 3 months filming. Every Sunday you had one phone call and you were being filmed with one member of your family. Now I was okay because I was just, I didn't have any children or whatever, but some people had children. 16-hour days filming. So Yeah, it was stressful. You don't know what's going to come. You don't know what's going to happen. You're then put into that boardroom situation where you were working as a team and now you're about to kind of blame each other for why you lost the task. So stress upon stress, not eating all the time because you're rushing around, not sleeping well because you're thinking, oh my goodness, how am I doing in the thing? So everything that could possibly be a trigger for a skin explosion that happened. Under pressure, stress, not eating properly, not sleeping properly, not hydrating properly, not even being able to have time to do my skincare. So yeah, it was stressful, and my skin absolutely said, I don't know what you're doing, love, but you need to just chill out here. Yeah, it completely exploded, to the extent that there was one show where I thought, I can't carry on, and I literally said to the producers, I'm so uncomfortable in my skin, I can't carry on. And I'm sure I saw a dermatologist, even when I went behind the scenes,
Yeah.
because it was that bad.
Wow. I was going to ask if there was kind of any, care from the team kind of looking after you in that situation.
Do you know, looking back, I didn't realise this, but I was obviously an important person that they wanted to keep, making all the silly TV that I didn't realise I was doing it. And they, the edit, they were like, yep, she's the one to watch. But yeah, they did. Yeah.
Wow.
It was acknowledged.
So Dr. Emma, what is it about stress that flares the skin up in that kind of situation?
The skin and the brain is really, really intricately linked. So actually, you've got lots of neural pathways, lots of nerves and end receptors that are linked between the skin and the brain. So the minute your brain starts to get quite activated or stressed, then you can start to see that there's significance of inflammation and aggravation of the skin. And then actually, if we start to get stressed as well, so things like cortisol level, hormones go up and the skin's very responsive. But also, our behavior when we're stressed will often exacerbate our skin. So we might not eat quite as well. We might be finding that actually we're not sleeping, all of these sorts of things. So it's a real double whammy. Not only is there actually a sort of physical, biological effect, it's also that our behaviors start to change, and that can make our skin worse as well.
I find there's also this kind of exacerbating thing where you're then stressed about your skin flaring up, which makes you more stressed.
It's a vicious circle.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a vicious
and if you
circle.
can't snap out of it, you just spiral.
Definitely. And things like itching, that's a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you itch, the more you irritate the skin, you break the skin barrier, it makes it more itchy, and you're just going around in this vicious circle.
Yeah. So Saira, you're in the public eye. Do you think that adds pressure when your skin is flaring up?
It definitely does when you are in the public eye. But also, I think, you've got to remember, and Dr. Emma, I'm sure you agree, from a child, as a young woman, perfection is even skin tone. Okay, it's tanned, it's even skin tone, it's beautiful, it's silky, it's soft, there's not a wrinkle, there's not a mark on it. That is in your brain. Your brain doesn't forget that, no matter how much you try and override it and go, don't be stupid, that's just photo image, that's not perfect, there's no such thing. You still see it, and it's trying to kind of undo that picking of what your brain is holding on to say, I'm not, just because you're thinking it, it doesn't mean it's right. That takes a lot of time and effort. And I don't think sometimes you ever really stop unseeing it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, even though I know it's okay to sit here with marks on my skin, deep down, I'm like, I wish I didn't have it.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think it's so hard as well if you're much younger. So for all these kids that are on social media, they come into clinic and they're like, I want skin like Kylie Jenner's. And I'm like, but that's not her real skin. That's sort of what we're seeing or what she's filtering, or she may have I've never met Kylie Jenner. I'm sure she has amazing skin. But it's to your point that we're now just seeing constant filtered images, and it's really tough.
Yeah, I think it really is. And that's why I think, as a parent to a daughter, I am really keeping it real. But it's just about saying, be comfortable in your natural naked skin, because at the end of the day, that's what you look at in the mirror, and you've got to be comfortable with that.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you kind of thought about your skin and thought about quitting The Apprentice when your skin was flaring up. Is there anything that you actually have decided and said, I'm not going to do that because of my skin at any point?
I think more of it was like, oh, I can't wear what I want to wear, so it just kind of annoys me. But there was a photo shoot once, and they wanted me in a swimming costume. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I can't. And they're like, yeah, but you'll be fine. I was like, no, I can't, because I don't feel comfortable. And that was when it was very itchy, very flaky, very dry. Didn't really know what I was doing. And I just thought, no, I'm not doing it. And that could have led to loads of opportunities.
Yeah.
But when you're not connected to your confidence, nobody can talk you around. It's like, it's not that bad. What you're seeing, other people don't see it. Don't be silly. This is a great opportunity. People are reasoning and they're right. But if you are in your head going, no, I don't feel it, I'm not going to do it, I'm too embarrassed, I can't, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I really would urge anybody listening to this, please don't let your skin stop you from getting on with life, because it's really long. Now I look back, I just think, you silly thing, why didn't you just do it? Easier said than done, though. Sorry. We're both looking at each other going, how many times have we said that to ourselves?
So after finishing on The Apprentice, you became a successful businesswoman. How do you manage the stress of running a business when you know that it might trigger your skin issues?
Running a business is the most stressful thing that you could ever do. And, it's your own money. I don't have any investors. I'm a mother of 2 kids. I've got a family, got elderly parents. The stress is enormous. 55, I think I've probably gone through the menopause, but during the time I was running my business, hormones changing, it's horrendous. So how I manage it is I listen to my body. I listen to my skin. My skin tells me you're overstressed. So I go, right, I've got to do a bit of meditation. I'm going to lie down. I'm going to spend a bit more time doing my skincare. I'm not going to rush around. I'm going to say no to that rather than saying yes to this. I'm going to cool myself down. I might go for a sauna. It's literally listening. I know how to manage my skin, so I don't really get itchy, dry skin anymore, but it can get uncomfortable. And I'm like, oh, it's getting a bit dry. That's a sign of inflammation, stress. Calm down, meditate, stop jumping around, go for a nice, easy walk, take yourself out of the situation, all that kind of stuff.
Dr. Emma, what do you suggest to people who come to you in the clinic, they're feeling stressed and their skin is reacting to that?
It's really common, so I think the skin is absolutely like a barometer of what's going on inside. And so you talk people through all the different things that you can do. Like I might talk them through the diet and their sleep and exercise and all of these sort of healthy ways that you can actually try and manage stress. But I think what Saira was saying is that sometimes it's just like you've had enough. You actually just need a little bit of a break. And I think also, as I get a bit older as well, I know that actually you can't do everything. So it's giving yourself that permission to say, I just need a bit of downtime. I just need to sort of de-stress. And I have a lot of patients who in London who are working as corporate lawyers and all of this sort of stuff. And you listen to their routines and you're like, but your body just needs a bit of a break. So I think it is really, really important to know yourself. And I think that does come a bit with time. Being able to say no to things. Like at the beginning when you're trying to set something up, or it's like, yes, 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 yes. But after a while, it's just knowing that you've only got so much capacity. You really need to look after yourself. Your skin has to last you, and all of your organs, right? You're quite a long time, touch wood. You have to pace yourself and take care of it.
So, Saira, considering stress kind of flares up your skin, you've put yourself in some quite sticky situations with Celebrity Big Brother, Dancing on Ice, SAS Who Dares Wins. Which of those would you say was kind of the worst for your skin, kind of stress-wise?
I think Big Brother was. Oh, goodness, yeah. I mean, I'll be really honest with you. I only did that because the money was really good. They've been asking me for ages and I was like, I need an extension. Let's just do it. But that was stressful because that was psychological. Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a blur. And I had a little bit of PTSD after I came out because it was really going deep into the brain. Because you get a bit paranoid about what's going on, who do I trust? It's all that kind of mind games. But you know what? As Celebrity SAS, I jumped out the helicopter, I broke my ankle, I was put into a gas chamber, skin was absolutely fine. I loved it. I didn't find that stressful. So yeah, it's really weird. It's just sometimes it's those things that you least expect. So I think, and as you mentioned, Dr. Emma, that the brain for me is like, if that is overworked, overstressed, it'll come out in my skin. Whereas if I'm doing something that's stressful but I'm enjoying it, then I'm like, actually, okay, that doesn't bother me at all.
And I'm guessing every person will be different as well. What will kind of tip the balance? What will be stressful for them?
Definitely. I think people are very, very individual and what they find stressful. And I think what you were saying, Sarah, is that sometimes maybe like the stress of celebrity SAS, which was more like a physical stress, wasn't so much of a trigger for you personally,
right.
but the psychological aspect is key. And we use that sometimes. So in dermatology, we can use things like mindfulness to treat certain skin conditions like eczema. We often will have a psychologist alongside our clinics because we know it's so interlinked. And I think people that don't have skin disease just don't get it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Saira, take me back to young Saira. What was it like growing up, just in general?
It was okay. You know, my parents were immigrants to this country. So growing up as in the 70s, as a child to immigrant parents, it was hard work. You know, we didn't have a lot of money. There was a lot of racism around. And I think, again, you know, what you experience as childhood can like really affect, I think, your skin. But it was hard, you know, it was hard. And coming from a culture where, for me as a woman, it was very much you can't do that, you can't say that, you can't look like that, you can't wear that, you can't eat that. It was like, oh goodness me. And I think, you know, as I've got older, I just rebelled against that. It's like, I'm a woman and I can do what the heck I like. Do not stop me. Let me make up my own mind.
When did your skin issues start?
Definitely when I was around, I would say around 13, because I had sort of very dry skin. So I started off in my hair. Then I think I sort of started noticing very dry skin when I was around 13, very noticeable by the time I was 18. And then, you know, for most of my life. And, you know, I've been to the doctors, it was psoriasis. I thought I had psoriasis. So I treated it like psoriasis. It presented itself like as psoriasis. And so that's what I would say to people. They're like, oh, you know, somebody would mention something like, oh yeah, I've got psoriasis, as if to sort of say, oh yeah, that's why I don't look like you, because I've got a condition, you know. So it was from a very young age.
So you mentioned there that you thought you had psoriasis and you were treating it as though it was psoriasis.
Yeah.
But I believe that you've actually recently found out that it was something else.
Only 5 years ago. So you know, psoriasis is very scaly, it's very itchy, it's kind of on certain parts of your body. So when I was looking at what is this, and I went to the doctors, they all said psoriasis. So I treated it like that, you know, gentle exfoliation, moisturization, all that kind of stuff. To be honest with you, when I was going through this, nobody really made the link with lifestyle. It was just very much, how is it presenting on the skin? Let's just deal with that. It's only very recently that we've realized actually sleep, stress, nutrition, all those things help as well. But 5 years ago, I just thought, I want to know, have I actually got psoriasis? Because I just want to know. Anyway, I went to a dermatologist, and I'm going to give this piece of paper to you, Dr. Emma, because I can't even say this word. But apparently and as soon as I found out this is the condition, I've been absolutely fine. I don't hide my skin. I don't care. I'm not bothered. It was like a bit of a weight lifting on because I can't do anything about this. So this is the condition. I can't say it. Everybody says, what have you got? I'm like, I don't know.
So this is a condition called erythrokeratoderma variabilis.
How can you say that? And how do you did that perfectly?
It only took about 25 years, Sarah. I mean, it did take a while. Don't get me wrong. So this is what we call a genodermatoses, and that's because it is actually almost purely sort of genetic.
Yes.
It's a change within one of the skin proteins, which is caused by an abnormality in the genes. And genodermatosis is quite a rare type of skin condition. And that's why actually it would really only be a dermatologist that would be aware of those sorts of things. And I think this really highlights, you know, how important it is for people to be able to get the right sort of diagnosis so that they can really understand their condition. I mean, you've come so far, haven't you, in terms of like understanding yourself and how you can manage it. But it's a struggle. Had you had someone being able to say that at the age of 13, 14, 15, hopefully that would have made life just that bit easier for you.
100%. And I think getting the correct diagnosis is really important. I think sometimes we all think we've got eczema, but it might not be. It might be something else, you know. But when I found that out, that this is a genetic, that word genetic to me was like, this is it. I can't do anything about this actually. So you're just going to live with it. And that's when I owned it. I was like, now it's fine. I honestly, look, I'm sitting here with a little vest top on. You can't see it, but I can see it. I've got a bit of a tan, so it goes away. In the winter, it's a bit more harsh. There's a bit more of a contrast with the pigmentation. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me. It's something about, well, you can't do anything about it. It's genetic. And now looking back, my dad has got skin conditions. My brother has had psoriasis. And then it's presented in my body like this. So now, for me, it's like moisturizing, I've got my oils on, I'm happy, I'm de-stressed, I know how to look after it. It doesn't bother me. But up until that point, until that dermatologist told me, it still stressed me out.
So, Saira, now you're a mum to 2 children. You made an amazing documentary about adopting your daughter, which I encourage everyone to go and watch because it was just really emotional. But your skin flared up after giving birth to your son, is that right?
Yes, because again, people don't realize, but, I went through IVF. So when you have IVF, you're having a lot of hormones, isn't it? Hormones in your body. So it was fine up until that point. And then after I gave birth, it kind of like came out in my skin, all these, it was just erupted. And I was like, what is going on? But it's just the after effects of IVF. So that was a real shock. So yeah, again, anybody who is going through IVF, don't panic if your skin feels a bit dry, itchy, or it breaks out. It's just for a short while until it's kind of out of your system. And then the pregnancy hormones all kind of level out again.
Is that something that you see fairly often?
All the time. In fact, some women who have skin conditions get really scared about getting pregnant because they're like, what happens if my skin flares up? What happens if I can't have my treatment? And we were talking before about skin disease defining you. I've had women who've been putting off getting pregnant. They're like, my partner really wants to have a baby, but I'm really scared about my skin. And actually, again, it's like, we can't make everything perfect, but I'm like, look, we will manage this.
Yeah.
We'll be there. I'll support you through it. It will be okay. And like you say, IVF. And then sometimes you don't know when you're going to be pregnant. So there can be long periods of time if you're going through multiple cycles where you might not be able to have the treatment you normally have. And so having, I think, a bit of support through that is really essential because it's so hard.
Yeah. And I didn't get any support. And I also think, to be fair, I found it very difficult to get pregnant. So I was just focused on, I want to get pregnant. So I didn't even really question about what I was putting inside my body. And I wouldn't change a single thing. So I got a beautiful son, but I wish I'd been told, don't worry if this happens, this is normal. It just gives you like, oh, I'm expecting it. But when it's unexpected, it stresses you out even more. And then your recovery time gets longer and longer because you're stressed out, you don't know what's going on. So it's just good to be in the know.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about hormonal changes and how stressful that can be. You've been pretty open, Saira, about your skin issues when it came along with the menopause and perimenopause. Why do you think it's so important to talk about this kind of thing publicly?
Oh my goodness, I thought, yeah, I understand my skin, blah, 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 so I'm fine. I've got it covered now. I know how to manage it. I've got my skincare routines down. And then the menopause came and it was like, all right, okay, here we go. Honestly, I was about 47 and obviously you've got your hot sweats and all that, but my skin erupted. And I'm really happy to share this because if anybody is listening and they're going through this, I want you to know this is an imbalance in your estrogen. It's an imbalance in your hormones. And I got rashes here in my arms, behind my legs, all around my private areas. I was just like, it was like a nappy rash. It was, I was never seen anything like it. So then I was getting stressed out, inflamed, stressed out. It was a vicious circle. Thank heavens my GP was fantastic. She was a lady. She was like, you're going through the perimenopause. I put myself on HRT. Doesn't work for some people. For me, within 3 days, I was back to normal. It was like I'd never had a skin condition. But that was the first time I realized the power of hormones, the power of unbalanced hormones, the power of your body is changing, you're aging.
As a woman, I would say that I feel like we're expected to go through all of these huge events hormonally. You talked about pregnancy, fertility treatment, and suddenly get to menopause, and you're just supposed to keep on going and turn up every day and like carry a burden of, children, elderly parents, all of jobs, this, that, and the other. Like, these things are profound. So the menopause is such a huge event for women in that their estrogen levels drop significantly. Since puberty, it's like when we go through puberty, we know that's a really big, profound change in our life. And menopause is like coming out the other end of it. And it can impact on everything, and it can really change sort of people's, mindset or the way that they function, their fatigue, and it can change their skin really significantly. I'm making it sound like it's all terrible. It's not. Like, there are so many also good things, and everyone will experience it differently. But for many people, the dryness, the sensitivity of their skin, inflammation, that's probably the biggest thing that I tend to see. Skin gets drier and more inflamed. And it's not about fighting back against it, because these are sort of normal processes. It's about trying to make it easier for yourself, navigating it in the way that you find easier, but also knowing that actually every decade your skin's going to be a little bit different, right? I don't look the same as I did when I was 20. That's okay. That's going to happen, right? And it's just about sort of adjusting to the new normal, helping yourself where you can, changing the things you can change and not fighting the things that you can't too much. And I think that's the way that we sort of need to get through it.
So I thought I'd take advantage of the fact that I've got you both here, and we've had some questions from listeners that I thought I would put to you both. The first one is, I'm scared to go swimming because of my skin. What can I do? So I think this is kind of two things. So could it be that they don't want to wear, like you mentioned earlier, you don't want to be seen in a swimming costume. You're worried about potentially kind of ignorant comments from people seeing your skin. And then there's also the side of it of kind of the actual physical side of what swimming could do to your skin. So Saira, what would you say?
So I've experienced this because I've got sensitive skin. I know that I've got dry skin. So when I was young, chlorine was an absolute nightmare for me. But as I got older, I realized, and I did this to my children when they were swimming, I just put a little bit layer of coconut oil on their skin so that becomes a bit of a barrier against the chlorine, so that, it just gives you a bit more protection. And then obviously washing the chlorine off, because water's drying, if you've got dry skin, and you soon learn what dries your skin out, and chlorine can be very drying, but you don't want to not go swimming. It's a life skill.
Yeah. Dr. Emma, do you have any kind of specific tips that you would recommend for people that are worried about going swimming?
So I think that the minute someone is saying, I'm limiting my activities, I'm on it, right? Because I don't want any of my patients to stop doing what they want to do because of their skin. So it's a two-pronged approach. One is, can I change it? So if I can change it, then I'll change it, right? I'll treat it, or I'll do whatever it is. Can I help someone else change it? Can I help them with their lifestyle factors? And then if I can't change it, can I change their mindset around it? That's what you were saying, Sarah. And that may be where, okay, I can't totally take it away. It might be a genetic skin condition, but hopefully I can make you feel a bit more empowered, and I can work around it. I can help you with your swimwear choices, actually for some people now. And because hopefully our whole sort of population is so different and mixed. Some people will go swimming with full length swimming costumes on. Some people will do various different things. It's like, I'm here to try and help you navigate this, because I want you to swim. I want you to be in the swim team or whatever it is. I see a lot of young people, and I don't want them to limit their life. So it's about trying to find out, why can't you go swimming, and how can I help you fix that?
So the last question that we got from our listener was, why does psoriasis tend to come back in the same spots? Is there a memory in the skin?
Oh, this is such a good question. Yes. And the answer to that is yes. So your immune system is very, very active within your skin, and you have lots of different parts of your immune system. But we know that from things like vaccines and antibodies, that our immune system has an incredible memory. And when you've had inflammation in one particular area, those memory cells, even though the skin might look clear, are probably simmering underneath the surface. And then it may be that actually something in your lifestyle triggers things off. That might be stress, diet, lack of sleep, and then it comes out again, hormone changes. So this person is inspired and clearly a skin scientist without even knowing it. But yes, your skin's immune system does have a memory, and that's why inflammatory skin conditions can often come out in the same areas.
Wow. That's fascinating. So do you think it could kind of serve as an early warning?
Definitely, that things are starting to become a bit unbalanced. And we can actually, as dermatologists, use that memory cell in a way to try and help prevent people's skin conditions from coming up and down. Because one thing that I hear quite a lot is if you have a skin condition, sometimes it's the fact that it's very unpredictable. You might be like, oh, my skin was okay. And then I had a really big meeting and, oh, I was trying to present, but actually my skin was really active. And that unpredictability is so frustrating. And so sometimes what we do now is rather than wait for the skin condition to come out is sort of be proactive. And like a couple of times a week, we might treat it with some medical treatment just to try and suppress those sort of memory cells. So we can use this in lots of different ways. Like you were saying, if you're starting to notice it's coming out, take a sort of stock of what's going on with your life. Is something else going on? And then actually getting in and treating it early to try and prevent a huge flare from coming up.
Do you know, there is one deep question that I really would like to ask, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Whilst I've got the most amazing dermatologist here. So as I've got older, I've noticed I've got pigmentation. So is that, again, something like you were saying earlier? Is it muscle? Is it like skin memory? And is it hormonal? Is it stress related? And will I be able to ever get rid of it? Because I'm obviously using some very high actives. I can't say that word.
Hydroquinone.
That's like, yeah. And I don't really like using it too much because it is quite strong stuff. But I think a lot of women my age, as they get older, will see more pigmentation. So again, I've got a little bit of cover up, and it does bother me, but I'm like, I've got to just live with it. My husband, who never notices anything on me, the other day was because I was obviously sitting in a place where it was shadowing. He's like, "Have you burnt yourself?" And I'm like, "No, it's pigmentation." And he went, "Oh, it looks a bit like a mustache." I'm like, "Thanks." Right, you're in the doghouse. When you're just like, of all the people who's lived with somebody with a skin condition, why would you say that? But again, naive and innocent. So it's more of a pigmentation related question, really.
Essentially, when you get older, our skin ages in lots of different ways. So we know that skin that's got more melanin will age far later than skin like mine, which gets lines and wrinkles and all of those sorts of stuff. But what you will end up getting is a bit of pigmentation. And that's sort of the way that you tend to see aging in darker skins. Now, things like melasma can very commonly, so this is a type of hormonal pigmentation that I will often see in particularly women who are on HRT, different sorts of changes, really common to see around at the top lip. Sometimes you'll see it around the sides of the face. Sometimes you'll see it on the forehead. And people can get it in pregnancy, fertility treatments, various different times of their lives. So that's probably what it is.
Yes.
In terms of treatment, there are lots of different types of treatments that you can use. And whenever I'm sort of approaching treatment with people, it really depends on how much it bothers them and how far that they want to go in terms of treatment. So first thing with all pigmentation is about sun protection.
Yes.
And sun protection should be sort of different according to our different skins as well. For somebody who's got darker skin, you need to be really careful as well about something called long wave UVA, about visible light. So tinted sunscreens can be really helpful for you. Then creams like retinoids, like you mentioned, hydroquinone. There are even some tablets which can sometimes help with pigmentation, depending on how far you want to take it. And occasionally things like chemical peels and lasers, which can also be helpful. So there are lots of different ways of helping with it. But I think pigmentation definitely is something that tends to come a bit with age, particularly if you have sort of darker skin.
Oh, it's good to know that it was hormone related, and HRT is quite an interesting one.
Before we wrap up, I thought I would take advantage of having Dr. Emma here. Saira, is there anything skin related that you've seen online, maybe something that's gone viral or a trend that you've seen you thought, I need to ask someone about that?
Yes, there is. Slugging. What's all that about?
Okay, slugging. So for anyone who doesn't know, slugging is basically putting on like Vaseline over your skincare to get a really, really intense sort of penetration into the skin. I don't really have a problem with slugging. I think it's okay. I think Vaseline as an ingredient is fine. It's very messy, right? Count me out because I want my pillows and my hair and all of that to look okay in the morning. But if you've got really, really dry skin, you could do far worse. It basically prevents any of the water from your skin from evaporating off. So it really locks in moisture within your skin. It's okay, but like I said, I'm not a fan of it personally.
And if you're using kind of actives, it's going to really kind of, it could potentially make that more intense than you maybe want it to be. Is that right? So if you're putting kind of retinol or something on, would it maybe be a bit too intense for you if you're tracking that in?
So I don't think we've actually done any major sort of studies on that. Your skin's pretty amazing. It's like a sieve, and it's got this thing called the 500 Dalton rule. So only very small molecules can get down into the deeper layers of your skin. So things like retinols get down into the deeper layer of your skin because they're small molecules, they're lipid soluble, all of that. When you've got the top layer of skin like a slugging like ingredient on, it's probably more trapping water rather than those sorts of molecules. And in a way, if you're putting retinoids on, they can really dry your skin out. So actually slugging can be quite efficient with that. So I don't think we've got any really good evidence that maybe it sort of, completely changes that. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. I'd rather put a retinol on and put a whole layer of moisture on than just leave it without moisturizer.
Yeah. I mean, my rosacea hates anything that's like heavy. So the idea of putting something like that on my skin is just like internal screaming.
Absolutely. And you have to learn what works for you. It's these sort of trends on social media. Be aware of them. Like maybe, don't go for anything too crazy, but just listen to your own skin, because you're right. I mean, Lex, it's probably taken you a while to sort of work out, what do I need to do? It's not going to be, there is no one size fits all. I mean, look at us. We've all got completely different skin. We're different heights. We're different this. We're just different people. So really try and learn what your skin likes.
Yeah,
absolutely. Dr. Emma, is there anything that you've seen online that just makes you want to scream and that you would like to take this opportunity to kind of myth bust?
Okay, so I think it's that a good skincare routine does not have to be complicated, and it does not have to be super expensive. And for me, that's about making it accessible to everybody, because actually what we don't want to think is that unless you're spending thousands of pounds on treatment, skincare, this, that, and the other, you can't have good skin. Actually, there's so much that you can do. Adapt it to your budget and adapt it to your sort of skin. Don't overcomplicate it, and don't take out a second mortgage, sell your home, mortgage your mother, whatever it is to actually fund your skincare.
I think there'll be lots of people out there that will be breathing a sigh of relief.
I hope so.
Really good advice.
Thank you so much, both of you. Telly legend, Saira Khan.
Thank you. That's very kind.
And this week's dermatologist, Dr. Emma Wedgeworth.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that chat. I'm so thrilled to be working with the British Skin Foundation on the Skin Unfiltered podcast. When I was first diagnosed with rosacea, I felt so lost and really struggled to find trustworthy information about my condition. I hope that by listening to this podcast, you not only feel more educated and informed, but also less alone. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, or you can also like and subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget to follow the British Skin Foundation on all the usual social platforms for the latest research and skin information you can trust. Just search @BSF Charity. And I'll catch you next time to get beneath the skin of a new guest with a new expert. See you then. Skin Unfiltered is a British Skin Foundation podcast presented by me, Lex Gillis, produced and edited by Scott Jenkins, commissioned by Lisa Bickerstaff at the British Skin Foundation, with production assistance from Tejal Dapala.